Hey folks, welcome back to War Thunder. Today's video is a quite cut down grind compilation of me trying to get the Su-25. So we're flying Russian stuff, primarily flying the MiG-21 SMT and the Yak-38, mostly MiG-21 footage in here. Nice Gunkill and that Tomcat to start things off. I'm going to try and add timestamps to the actual timeline bar at the bottom, so if you want to skim through that and see if there's anything that sounds particularly interesting to you, you can do that and just skip straight to it. Otherwise you can stay around and go through things live with me doing this commentary. So we're starting off with just some general missile clips, just in video highlights pretty much. The lighting on this map just made missile kills look absolutely amazing, apart from when they are on me. So I'm getting locked throughout this and I'm thinking, oh, where the hell's it coming from? And the canopy strut blocked my view for most of it. And I was just way too late noticing, like a complete noob. At this point, I'm so early into my grind that the MiG-21 SMT is literally the best jet that I have, and I haven't flown it since before it got given that flare pod, so I have no countermeasures or anything at this point. Keep an eye on the top left for the clips when I do have it, because it is all in chronological order more or less. So we get shot at from behind here from an F-14, and then he fires a Fox 2 at us. Going back to what I was saying a second ago about me not having flown this thing for a while. Last time I flew the MiG-21, it had, I swear, much better AOA than it does now. And I would have been able to practically Cobra out of that situation. But at least the F-14 follows us into the dirt, so things could be worse. What's going on right now? We're being locked from the front, and I spot the missile trail off to like 1 o'clock, and I try and pull it into a notch to see if it'll stop it from tracking. It has not, so I'm going to continue going around into a 180. And there the missile goes detonating in mid-air. He fires another one at me which doesn't track, and another which also doesn't track. And then you'll see him start to spray his gun at me. There it goes. And we've now merged with an F-14. This turns into a pretty ridiculous furball where I'm massively outnumbered and basically abuse the fact that we're in a cloud layer to not get completely shit on. You can see here that through the cloud, if you have your afterburner on, it's quite easy to track where you are, which is how I'm able to get an R60 off on this Tomcat. Nice one. And then another one just narrowly avoids smashing his face into me. We're basically stalling out in a vertical climb now at like 10-12,000 feet. As we're coming down on this guy, there's another one. I'm not sure if that one's aware of me yet. The guy diving definitely is, so I decided to focus my attention on the one that wasn't already on me. Don't manage to get gun hits on him, but I did just see an F5 going vertical in the background. Not sure if he's seen me yet either. The original F-14's climbing away over our nose, and the new one that I just took gunshots at is now aware of me, so he's flaring. I'm hoping the original one's lost viz, because I might be able to get a missile shot, but it turns out that he's head on now, so I'll never get that. Miss him with the gun. Thankfully he doesn't squeeze the trigger as we cross his nose, so we're getting lucky there. It looks like the F5's carrying some kind of stores, so I'm going vertical again in the hope that his lack of thrust over me will make it difficult for him to follow me back up, and I know that both the F-14s are currently diving out, so they're not going to be an immediate threat. Gives me a bit of time to get nose on this F5, but he starts flaring, he knows that I'm here. He dives out through the clouds, so do I, and I cut my afterburner because I know that they'll be able to follow me through it visually if I leave it on. And then I do a bit of a roll and pull so I'm not heading in the same direction. And I just bug out for a couple of minutes, because I have no idea what's going on. It was getting a bit too manic, a bit too hectic. On the way back in, I managed to spot another Tomcat. So we get an R60 off on him after tracking him through the clouds because of his afterburner again. That thankfully connects, and then it seems that whatever's locking me, I don't know what it might have been, like an SPA on the ground or something, but we do okay, we get away. Everyone else seems to have just conveniently bugged out or disappeared, so we live to fight another day. Moving on to the Yak-38 clips, I had a bit of a poll on my community page about whether to include this or make it as its own video. As you can see, I was just doing some anti-shipping runs with S-24s. After a rearm, take off, we're heading back to the combat area, and we get engaged almost immediately off the carrier deck by a Tomcat. You can see it over there to our 11 o'clock. He's firing off phoenixes at something, and then I must pop on his radar because he decides to pop one off at me. So I immediately brake right and use this little hill here to break line of sight with his radar to stop the missiles from tracking. I'm fiddling with my controls to get my R60 selected with the actual correct gun sight here, and as we come around, it looks like he fired another couple at me and they both missed as well. Merged with the Tomcat. We're extremely slow. We're flying probably the least manoeuvrable aircraft in the game. It's an absolute brick pile of crap. I bought this thing to use for ground strike when it had M-Class. I know it was, I can't remember what the guidance type is, but it had air-to-ground missiles that were pretty decent. I've got a video on the channel going over it, but they changed them and I've not touched it since. Tomcat's going in a very wide rate for some reason, even though he could very easily just pull me into the hood and fire an M9H off at me and absolutely decimate me in a matter of seconds. But I'm not going to complain that he's making mistakes that allow me to continue to live. He does clip my rudder off, but because the hover sausage, the Yak-38, has VTOL, which I'm now abusing by the way, you don't actually need a rudder because it can use the VTOL thrust vectoring to do it instead. Or at least that's what it seems like. I didn't manage to get my nose on earlier because I had the throttle too high and it was forcing my nose up. After correcting for that, we get these two R60s off. I don't know how the first one missed, I feel like I just got gauged there. The second one I think I fired too early before it got a proper lock and it just detonated off the rail. And then this Tomcat is exceedingly slow. I'm not sure what he's doing. He knows I've fired that missiles now, so he should really just extend, but I managed to clip his wingtip with this abysmal gun. And he bails before he even hits the water, or he might even have just rage quit because there was no pilot. There were no shoots. It just said that I'd killed him. Honestly, I think I came out on top there more because he was utterly terrible rather than anything to do with me, because this is probably the worst jet in the game in terms of dogfighting. So we go for a VTOL landing on the carrier, and the reason I've left this in is because it just gets a bit squeaky bum timey right here. 12 feet I think was the lowest I saw there, which is probably shorter than the height of the actual aircraft. Managed to just about recover it. I'm used to the Harrier, which is much more responsive on the throttle and it has a much more powerful engine as well, but we managed to make it back. Don't ask why it's an American carrier and a Russian jet, and we're fighting Americans because you know, that's just part and parcel of the war thunder, I suppose. Back to the MiG-21 SMT, and right now on our gun sight pipper, or within the general vicinity of it, there is a Mirage 2000 that I've been following using the kill feed for the last couple of minutes. He is chasing a friendly that was calling for backup. Can't see the friendly right now, but we do manage to get a quite high aspect lock on this Mirage 2000. R60's track so much better than I remember them doing, and we managed to pretty much slap him in a practical head-on. Up ahead we got a Tomcat. We're up at 15,000 feet doing nearly Mach 1.5. I've got one R60 remaining, so I was banking the speed up, hoping that that'd give me a bit of an extra lob on it, and thankfully it manages to slap him. We go back for a rearm, and then this is one of the most intense, long-winded dogfights that I've had in a top-tier environment in a long ass time. So we get our first of 4 R60s off on a F4 Phantom there, an F4E, which finds its mark. Looking over, we've got a Frogfoot, friendly Frogfoot, and a gaggle of AI, so there must be some kind of AI objective, either bombers, attackers, or what have you, so there's probably also a ground battle somewhere which we need to keep tabs on in case we get slapped by SPAA out of nowhere. Radar has identified this guy up on 12 as an enemy. It's a Harrier GR7. I was prepping an R60, but we end up so close to him after making that turn that I'm able to just sort of tap him with the gun. Knocks all of his tail bits off, so that's an easy kill. Looking around, and that friendly MiG-23 has a 6, but then the 6 has a 6 and the friendly manages to slap it. It was a Mirage 3E. Looking down, we've got the Frogfoot that just got saved. the Frogfoot that fired the saving shot, and then a Draken, an enemy Draken, blasting through the middle of him. R68 on him, our second of 4. Surprised that hit, but not complaining. About a minute later, I'm just circling around to see what these Frogfoots are up to, and a Mirage 2000 buzzes overhead, and then I look behind to follow it, and a Tomcat's behind me, and seems to be aware of me, so I'm going to switch my attention to the Tomcat. Tomcat gets taken out by a MiG-23, there's the Mirage 2000 tailing the MiG-23, so I'm going to focus the Mirage and try and save my teammate that just saved me. Worst launch I've ever seen from the Mirage there. He was about 300 metres past the target before he fired, and then there's me and my big mouth doing one of the worst launches I've ever done as well. Mirage is super tunnel visioned on the MiG-23. We have 6 minutes of fuel, so we're doing pretty well in terms of performance right now. And I'm just going to keep pulling around and see if I can get either a missile or a gunshot, depending. We're looking pretty close. I'm not sure what the lead's like on this thing, so I've barely used this gun, but we managed to clip his rudder there. And then in his tunnel vision state, he just goes straight across our nose. So that was quite a nice, easy, tidy kill. A couple of minutes later again, and we have the Harrier back from before. He gets an M9L off at us, but I finally have countermeasures, so I'm able to chaff and flare it off. Well, flare it off. I'm quite confident doing a one-on-one against a Harrier and a MiG-21. At least I was. I'm not sure what the AOA is like on the GR7. I've been told it performs a lot better than the other Harriers, but I haven't flown it myself yet to really gauge the difference. So I'm just treating it as I would on any other Harrier. I'm very low on cannon ammo at the minute. I've only got 1 missile left, so things are getting pretty dicey. I'm also down to 2.5 minutes of fuel, which will go extremely fast if I use the afterburner, so I'm trying to sort of manage my throttle, my turn rate, and my ammo. Not very well, because I just ran out right at prime time to actually kill him, which is very annoying. Looking back, and we've got something on direct 6, a Mirage booming through that managed to miss me. And I know there's a Tomcat coming in because I can see it spitting missiles to our 12 there. So I'm going to follow the Mirage and try and get an R60 off. I'm not expecting it to hit, I just need to get it gone because I don't have the time to stick around. I'm down to a minute of fuel now. The airbase is quite close. We manage to get there with no fuel, glide it in, bring it to a stop. I still don't have the SG-25, but I wanted to get this video out before I had like 15 years worth of footage. If you want to see more like this, let me know. I'm also grinding the Harrier and the Tomcat and the Mirage, mostly with EC6 stuff, but keep an eye on the channel for future uploads. Thanks a lot for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.